Okay, you're live. All right, you all are live.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Okay. Hereby open the special board meeting via video conference of the Board of Education, Chickasha Public School District 26I-001. This meeting was properly posted in accordance with the Oklahoma Meetings Act 25 OS Section 301 through 314 at 6:08 p.m. Call roll, please.
McGill,
Here.
Morse,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Gertis,
Here.
Clift.
Here.
All right. If you'll join me at Pledge of Allegiance. I have one in my background, and I noticed that Rick does too. So here we
I
go.
got one.
I stand
All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all.
All right.
Nice shirt, Kara.
You too.
Rick, public comment. I did not receive any emails or anything that I would share under this. Did you get anything from anyone that you'd share here?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. All right. Item number 5, recognition of Chicken Express Employees of the Month for April.
I do not have this. Jennifer, do you have this piece?
I have the names.
Okay.
Okay.
It should be listed on the agenda.
Yep. So for this month, we have from the Adult Learning Center, this Angie Humphrey is our certified employee. And then Sky Custer is our support employee. So we would thank each of them. We're sorry that their recognition wasn't in the same manner that the other employees have been at the full board meeting and with our Chicken Express people there, and to bring them up and tell stories and take pictures. But we appreciate them all the same. Thank you for their hard work and everything they do for the district. All right. Item 6, recognition of quarterly support employee. I think Jennifer's got that.
Yes, and our quarterly support employee is Susan Sanders. Wilma sent me a couple of things to recognize her for. She does a lot, but she's very caring. One of the things that she did, we had a student who kind of has trauma in his background and had a hard time riding the school bus. And so every afternoon she would ride the school bus with him all the way through to get him home and make sure that he was felt safe.
That is so wonderful.
Yeah, and then she also had a friend that had llamas, therapy llamas, and so she brought them up to the school to help the kids. So she does go above and beyond to make sure the kids feel safe and help everyone out.
That's good.
What side is she?
Grander.
I do not have her site, which site she's at. I think she's
She's
at
at Grand. She was the recipient like the very first month this year in August, I think,
Okay.
for the Chicken
Okay.
Express. So
So if we want to send a memo, we can send it to Grant.
yeah, she's either at Grand or Bill Wallace. So
Okay.
All right. Thanks to Miss Susan Sanders. Good job. Item 7, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the special education compliance letter. Pam?
So back on September 6th, State Department of Ed came down and did an on-site monitoring. We received the findings and report back on February 11th. Since February 11th, we've been working to do the compliance things. They wanted us to have every administrator, every special ed teacher do some online professional development in Pepper or Ed Plan in our system. So those have been done. We've reheld a few IEP meetings, and I will be sending in that report on Wednesday. It does require board signatures that you guys have been made aware of the report and have knowledge of it. And so at some point, I've got to come around tomorrow. If you guys can't come up here, I've got to get signatures to send in as acknowledgement of that report.
Okay. On the kind of closing parts of the report, Pam, where it's really gets into the corrective actions made to fix the non-compliances, and then a little bit on the preventative, do you feel like it looked like there were some new policies? I don't think they weren't attached in this packet, but can you talk a little bit about how preventative you think the changes are? Like, do you feel like it would they're enough that it would catch these in the future? I'm just trying to go down to see, trying to think more on that preventative road on how well you and Rick gauge that they will accept these as full corrections and the prevention part.
I believe they will be accepted as the response or as the corrective action plan. We did do a root cause analysis with our special ed teachers, and I think that was a very beneficial process. One of the things that we did notice was it wasn't that information was incomplete, because in Ed Plan, you can't leave anything blank. The system won't allow you to finalize it and leave something off. But what we did discuss doing is doing a better job of being more descriptive, providing more individualized information, being more descriptive of what we put in. One of the things that we noticed with our eligibility reports, that our staff was testing all of the components, but on some of them, they were just having the information in their report itself and then not listed in the Ed Plan blank of that area. So we now know from our office that that's an easy correction to fix so that it appears in both places. The information was there, it just wasn't in the place that they were looking for it.
Okay. You with that, when you fill out in Ed Plan, is there a spot to upload documents? So you, like you mentioned there, like the information's in the full report, didn't get entered in the same corresponding field in Ed Plan. Did that full report get scanned into that same Ed Plan report? So it was there if you clicked on a link or dug a little bit?
Yes, sir, it was there. They, Tammy and Donna both upload all of their testing reports in Ed Plan. So it was there, accessible, but it was not in the box that they were looking for, the component or section they were looking for. But again, we learned a lot more about detail. All the blanks are there, all the blanks are filled in. We just need to be more specific and provide more detail.
Okay. I asked more questions on this because I've had to do a lot of quality system stuff. So I've had to do a lot of corrective and a lot of preventative. So I just know sometimes, depending on who you get on the other end that's going to look at it and accept it or not accept it, they can really like the root cause of the corrective actions you've taken and go for that. And sometimes they'll take that. And then sometimes they're like, well, how did you change the system? What changes to the system are going to prevent this from happening again? And how can you prove that out? And so only other thing I'd recommend then is maybe plan at your level to do some periodic audits, like once a month or once a quarter, just to review a sample of the Ed plans to make sure, like you mentioned, the training you guys have all done now is kind of some PD, continuing education on here's what we're supposed to do, here's what they're kind of looking for, and then just plan in some sample audits to make sure it's happening the way you think it is and everyone's trained to now.
And I think
Actually,
that,
what-
I think the online PD did help. I think because sometimes you've got a counselor or assistant principal, different principals, different ones sitting in on meetings. And so I think it did provide some good information to all of the staff.
Zach, that is one of the things that we've been talking about doing next year is having intermittent audits of IEPs throughout the year, just to make sure and find out that one, we're hitting all the identified areas from this audit, but then two, just also seeing if there's anything else that might be coming up that we need to spend some time doing some PD on or going back in and touching base with staff members. So I think it's a great idea. It is something that we've talked about and something I want to explore and finding out who we have available to do that and what that would look like across the board for all of our SPED teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, anytime you have a system like this and there's multiple people that are reporting it, everybody kind of reports in the way that they understand that they should or to the level they think they should. So it's hard to get it really consistent, but that's auditors always love it when you can. So the more Pam and the team can talk about how to fill it out, what they expect, and then follow that up with some checks and then reinforcing the good things and saying, hey, I need more detail here, the more level it'll get across person to person on how it's getting filled out and kind of streamline it. But okay.
I agree. I agree.
I have a question.
Yes.
And Pam, I'm not sure if this is a Pam question or a Rick question, but on a couple of the different scenarios that talked about certain criteria that wasn't met, but actually in your findings and in your reply back, it shows that under what they cited and what was actually required, we were operating correctly. Those things were not actually required or called for. So how do you feel about that part of the report and them understanding that you were following and doing the right thing?
I guess that's why I just tried to put in enough detail to go back to say, yes, here's what we had in this situation or not. I think anytime you have people looking at stuff, there can be some subjectivity to it, you know, of how one person interprets it to what another person's looking for. That's always a possibility. That's why I just tried to follow up with enough detail.
Well, I like the detail because it helped me kind of catch up and put it all together and layer it with theirs from what you were able to give. And so I just wondered in you know, kind of shooting that back and bouncing that ball back to them, if that's something they should have caught to begin with, that they were asking something that actually was not necessary.
Well, and before the shutdown happened, they were supposed to come back out here for another meeting.
Uh-huh.
And it was to go over some other reports from the year that's been submitted. And actually, when I met with the State Department back on March the 6th, they went over those reports with me. And so it was some of the stuff that Pam's already reported to the board back at the January meeting. Some of the other is just regular annual reports they just wanted to go over. And they really were highlighting some good things, but we were also going to follow up with some of those things that Pam has gone over that felt like we had it. And as you dug a little bit deeper, you're able to find it and you're able to see that things were in place. So that opportunity for us to have that correspondence with them right now is, I don't want to put lost, it's just been delayed because of the shutdown.
Sure.
But it is something that we do plan on following up because we want to do it right. It's
Right.
not going to be something to where people feels like it is not being done all the way as it should be, especially with my SPED background. Yeah, this paperwork's important and we want to get it right for our parents and our kids. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it seemed to. Go ahead.
I just want to jump in there and say, first of all, they're doing an on-site monitoring and telling us that we aren't meeting rules, but they came and did their on-site monitoring on September 6th, and we didn't get a report until February 11th.
Yeah.
Which breaks all of their own rules. So has there,
Usually
I mean,
45
first
days.
of all, and so, I mean, are they accountable as to why it was so long? And secondly, I mean, I think as you previously noted, you need to read the whole thing to actually hear both sides of the story, because some of these things are taken out of context, and then when you get the whole explanation, you understand. Child count. I mean, it's how many years previously since you've been working in the district, Pam, have we been over on child count?
Almost every year. were over in child count, and at least one or more classrooms. And now, especially with the shortage, the teacher shortage, it makes it that much harder on the child count issue.
And the process for being over on child count, if I remember correctly, is you do a child count exception report. And we've been filling those out for years and years and years. And up until this year, how many times has your child count exception report ever been denied?
It's never been denied before. This was the first time it's ever been denied.
But this year, it was denied across the board.
3 out of 4.
Just things like that. We want to make sure that we understand that, I mean, this is full of a lot of interesting reading.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing, Lori, go ahead, Robin.
I'm like Zach though. I just hope that we have enough details in here for them to say that we've done our part.
Right.
I think for the most part, there's good detail and content there, and it's gonna show that there's due diligence on digging into why some of that incidents occurred. I think until Rick is able to meet with them and debrief, there's going to be a difference. Lori said that one, like, did they realize they were asking something that's not required? To them, it is required. It's their interpretation of the state law. They have a definition of what that means. Our definition and Pam's definition that she laid out in those details and explanations, hey, went to this training, looked at OSDA website. It doesn't clearly state this. It's an interpretation of state statute, and they're interpreting it one way. And in any audit, when there's a finding you don't agree with, there's an appeal process to where you can say, hey, I get what the auditor's saying. I don't think I necessarily agree. And that's kind of where it seems to be with Rick, working through details with them to see if they can get past that point. So barring that difference in how they're viewing the certification and what a teacher can participate in the plan at all if they're not certified yet, versus having to have only the certified people sign off on the plan as the official teacher of record, there's a difference of opinion there, and that's not going to resolve until they're able to get together and resolve that. The rest seems to be in order. That's kind of my take.
Yes.
I like the way that she laid it out very matter-of-factly with the documents and with the dates and everything that was required. So I feel like that was done very well. Yeah, there is some subjectivity to that, but at the same time, I think the reply is laid out in the detail, covering the preventative that we can use it going forward. And I like the detail, which I think shows that already the remedy is very important and being paid attention to by the detail that she is replying with. So it's like, it's taking, she upped her game and making sure that now we're fulfilling exactly what they're looking for. And the reply, I think, shows that pretty clearly.
Anybody else, any other board members, any other discussion?
No, I just want to, Rick, I would like to hear your take, coming from a special ed background and being new to the district and walking into this. What's your take on it, and do you see this as a step getting us where we need to be, and what do you foresee will happen with all this?
Well, I will tell you, as I mentioned before, this is the most unusual audit I've ever seen, and the time frame that this audit has taken for them to give us a report is also the most unusual thing I've ever seen. Being a SPED teacher and an administrator for years, typically they take 45 days once an audit's done for them to come back and give you your full report. So there is some follow-up that I'm doing here. I do think that it's always good to go back and monitor IEPs, especially across the district. You're going to find when you do that type of quality control that there are some things that you have to come back in and you have to make some adjustments to, and you have to follow up with some more training, some PD. There is a lot of paperwork involved when you are working with a special education student and their parents. And so you want to make sure that you hit everything as it should. And to do that, especially with the shortage that we have as special ed teachers, because I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot honestly tell you of a 4A district and above that is having an easy time filling all their special ed spots. And so when that happens, you have to really work on the professional development. You have to make sure that you have some type of quality control and internal audit process. And then when you get something like this, you really need to dive into it and see what processes we can fix. So I think moving forward, it's going to make us better on our end, especially on the quality control piece and the professional development piece. But like I mentioned, there are some things with the State Department I'm still talking with them about, and I will keep you informed, because there's just some things about this audit, and I want to know everything. I'm not a surprise guy. So we'll get it and we'll figure it out. But I do think this is a good move for us in the right direction, in all honesty.
Okay, so then Pam and Rick, you guys are both happy with this and ready to submit it and recommending to the board that we sign this and send it?
Yes, I recommend that you guys consider it for approval and that we can sign it.
Okay.
Zach, I move. Got one more
I have
question.
a quick question.
Yep.
I share your concerns, Rick. In this letter that we have to like recognize that we've seen it as the board, is there any way that we could maybe even ask for an explanation regarding the time frame? And I don't know. I just kind of would like to somewhat recognize kind of our concerns. Does that make
So, and I'll let everybody know this, I don't mind. We are still seeking an additional meeting with State Department leadership regarding this audit. My main question focuses around the time frame of the audit being conducted in September and then us not getting the report till February. My questions also contain to some of the content of the audit. I'm not going to go into.
Should that be formalized in our response letter at all? Would that?
As I've been talking with legal counsel about that, and at this time we're going to keep the two separate because we do need to go ahead and do the corrective action plan that addresses the things they specifically lay out. Ours is a separate piece. Why did you take so long in putting all this together? Why did you do this and this? I will just tell you, when I say this is an unusual report, I've done this a long time and I've seen a lot of audits, and I've never seen an audit take this much time, and I've never seen an audit be this specific in certain areas when it comes to staff members. And so there are no regulations, no guidelines regarding audits that have changed to my knowledge. And so I want to know why. And I will be following up with the State Department. And like I said, I will keep you informed. But I think right now we really need to address their corrective action plan piece. And where we need to improve, we're going to improve. Where there's a concern, we're going to address the concern. Where there's something that is makes you stop and pause, I want answers. So we can do the right thing for our school district, our kids, and our parents, and our staff members. Mm-hmm. And so right now, Kara, I really appreciate the question. I just think we need to stick to the corrective action piece to address their pieces. And then as we move forward, we'll have legal counsel's advice after meeting with them. And we can, if we need to formalize something or in the future, we can certainly do that. But right now, let's meet the deadline of April 15th, and let's just address that corrective action piece is what I recommend for you tonight.
Okay, because that was just my question when I was reading through it, was because I saw where you have to sign it, and I'm like, well, I kind of have questions, but if you think that we just address it now and then in the future we can.
We're going to address their concerns,
yeah,
but they're going to address our concerns at the same time.
Okay.
That makes sense with everyone.
I also want to footnote out there that, you know, we're being very transparent. We put this out there for the world to see. It's not like we're trying to hide anything.
We are not hiding anything tonight. I mean, we are bearing our soul here. And so in doing that, I'm just being very truthful about it. We're going to take the right steps, but there are questions still to be answered, and we will get answers.
Okay.
So, Pam, do you want us to come to the office tomorrow?
I can do whatever works for you all. If you can stop by here and sign it, that's perfect. If you can't, I can come to your house, to your work, to your parking lot, whatever, however you want to do, just let me know.
I can text and then someone can bring it to the door. So I'll make it easy.
Okay, however you want to.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll coordinate that tomorrow.
I move.
Christy, yep, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we approve the special education compliance letter.
I second.
Is that
Okay.
Robin?
Robin. Mm-hmm.
Robin, second. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. That brings us to item 8, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the MOU with CASE, updated policy DEC-R3.
So this is an MOU that was prepared by legal counsel, and it just goes over and addresses in the negotiated agreement with CASE for the update to policy DEC-R3 that we did back at the special board meeting regarding personal and emergency leave for support employees specifically. So what you will find in here is this is just the verbiage that goes along with that. It is not specific in saying hour to hour and day to day, like we talked about at the special board meeting that we did. And the reason for that was when I was speaking with legal counsel, we're in a very unprecedented time. And so we have had orders to where they just close school for 2 weeks. And then the next thing you have, they close school for the rest of the year. Then we have shelter at home or safer at home, whatever that phrase is. And we just don't know what 3 weeks from now will lead to. So it does give us some flexibility in the sense of if something changes, we don't have to keep bringing back an MOU as long as we are in line with policy DEC-R3. And so, and what was in that special board meeting is hour for hour. So if they work right now, we're open 16 hours a week. If we have a special support member, that works more than 16 hours a week with administrative approval, they may be able to earn personal leave under that. And right now that is very minimal across the district. We're really monitoring that and keeping it to that 16 hours. So this MOU has been looked at by the CASE president and by OEA, and they both agreed to this. And so I submit it tonight for you for your consideration.
No, I don't have any questions on this one. I mean, I asked before.
I don't either.
We're good.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding.
Second, Ellen.
You got those, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions or discussion, anyone? All right. Call roll, Kelly, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right. Item 9, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the instructional calendar for the 2021 year.
I have a couple of questions.
I'll make up
After
some
Robin.
answers.
First of all, we have all these colors on it, but no key code at the
Mhm.
bottom.
Amen.
Yep.
I have real issue with why we did all these colors, but we didn't bother to give us any code at the bottom. Secondly, there's no days taught per semester. So I'm assuming that down here at the bottom, it says we have 166 instructional days. Is that, has someone did double, I didn't get this in time to count.
I counted, they're there. What it doesn't show in those instructional days, that 166 does not include the 2 parent-teacher conference days.
that's what-
I'm sorry.
166 plus 2 parent conferences plus 7 PD.
175 contract days for the teachers. I did count the spots on the calendar and it is 175.
But I mean, the color coding thing, we are happy to fix that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps.
So it's 166 plus 7 plus 2 is 175 total days worked. And that's why we had to go back to it, correct? Because last time we had 177, is that right?
Yes.
Last time we had two instructional days too many.
Okay.
And so we took those out. We took out the Friday before Christmas break.
I
That's
see.
the December 18th date. And then the other one we adjusted was the teachers were going to come back on May 24th as a PD day, and tried to look for which 9 weeks had the most days in them and where we could do the least amount of interruption. So Friday the 21st now will be that PD day. The students' last day will be May 20th.
And graduation will remain on Friday. I see, the 21st.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Will you email us one with the code, the key, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
yes, we can do that.
All right.
And then my next question would be, after we approve this one, I'm assuming we will follow in suit to making all of these staff calendars, what all the different staff work and are off. And because we did that last year, and I actually got some positive feedback about how nice it was that they actually had their own working calendar. So
Yes. I want working calendars for every contract link that we have out there.
for every category.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Christie?
I move that we approve the instructional calendar for 2020, 2021.
Second,
I'll put
Alan.
Will second, or Alan.
Second. Alan?
Alan seconded,
Alan
okay.
seconded. Mhm. Any other questions or discussion though before we move on? All ladies good? All right, Kelly, call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Gertis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
Okay. Item 10, we have discussion and vote to approve or not approve the bid with Stanley Systems for copier service for the 2021 school year. I saw the attachment. That was Rick and Jennifer's recommendation, most complete service to cost comparison. So entertain a motion or any discussion anybody would have on this one?
I have a question. On your total cost of copies, what is the overage if it's over that? Per item, is that just your average? What'd you base that on?
No, they did a comprehensive look at our entire district and all of our copiers and the copy counts that we had been doing over the year. So that's what they based it on. And then there's a cost for colored and a cost for regular black and white.
Black and white.
On that, yeah.
So how many, it says on, they're going to replace, they come in and replace all the machines and the old service picks up all their old machines, correct?
That's correct.
And when is that installed?
Actually, we own all the machines, so
So they're just going to come in and
Correct.
service what we
Yeah.
have?
we own all of our machines now. So
Were
they
there
don't
any,
pick 'em
were
up.
there any that needed to be updated or replaced, or how does that work as the year goes through in staying up to date with new equipment?
No, they have in their proposal, they suggested for, I think it's if there's over 1 million copies that have been made by that copier to replace those. And that's part of their bid that they did. They went and reviewed, and I think there's, I'm not going to be absolutely correct, but there was around 12 that would be replaced. And then some of the ones could be moved to other places, but they looked at which places were like high copy areas and they were going to replace them that way with that. They also looked at our printers that we have throughout the district. And so that is part of their proposal, is to either on some of our printers, they're probably going to take them out because the cost is a lot more when you're making copies on printers than using a copy machine. So it's pretty comprehensive. The part that I like about it the best is that there's software called PaperCut that goes along with it that is actually a copier management software where you'll be either putting in a code or we can have a card that they swipe and before you print, and it's going to identify who's actually doing the copies, how much.
Oh, good.
It also won't print, like you can print in a different location, but it's not going to print until you go to the printer and put your code in or swipe it. So if you have things that are confidential, it kind of just makes it so that it's going to be more confidential because it's not going to print until you're right there at the machine.
So is that something you're going to be overseeing? Is that your wheelhouse?
Yes, yeah. But they'll put that in, they're going to put it in and have it all set up. We don't have to do that part of it. But
Correct.
yes, I will be looking at the reports and the different pieces with that.
And when do they think that they'll do the install and training? I mean, considering things are different, but is there an anticipated date?
Well, I think they can get started as soon as we approve the proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I move we approve the copier contract as proposed.
Second, Alan?
I second.
Okay,
Okay. Call roll, please, Kelly.
McGill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right, brings us to item 11, the consent agenda. Let's have the minutes of the March meeting and then the finance report. So just fire at will. Just don't try not to mic drop each other.
I have a question on J that was pulled last time. And so forgive me because that was the meeting that I missed, but it shows that it was pulled and yet I don't see it reintroduced.
We don't have.
I'm looking.
J was the Gabbard website and it got pulled.
Correct. We did pull that so that we could look at exactly what it was for, who was going to oversee it, what it included, and there was a software that we weren't sure that was on or off of that contract.
Okay, so where do we stand with that now?
We hadn't gathered all the information that we needed, so we just kept it off the meeting this time too.
Okay.
That's also the reason, Lori, it was listed as pulled and not tabled. Tabled
Right.
Traditional to establish the date that you're going to review it next. We weren't
Right.
sure on that last time, so that's why we pulled it.
Okay. Have we received, I mean, whatever was missing and that we were looking at, are we any farther along?
At this time, we haven't even made contact with them.
Okay. Thank you.
It got shuffled down the priority list real fast with the
I
COVID things, I'm afraid.
Priority list has been upside down.
I get it. The website, I just feel is such an incredible communication tool. So I know priorities happen. I was just curious as to where it landed.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely want to get that, get that picked back up at some point.
I will tell you, this whole crisis with the shutdown and distance learning and all that has really reemphasized how we've got to address the website. It's been functional for what we need to do, but there could be so much more that we could be doing.
I agree.
But right now, the priority list has just been topsy-turvy. So.
You'll get to it.
Oh, it's on the list. It's just, woo. Become a new superintendent and you shut down schools. Hey, what else can you do?
Throw you in the deep end.
Oh, it's been a little bit more like the ocean, but it's all good.
Does Jennifer have any comments on the finance report?
So on our finance report, we're still doing okay with gross production on that. Our income, we have filed for Title I, which is around 512,000. And then a couple of the other title programs, which is probably another 50,000 on there.
Speaking of Title I and federal programs, since we won't be having school for an entire 9 weeks, and we won't need to claim all of that money, what is the rule on federal programs? Are they going to let you carry that over and take off the cap?
Yes, they've already done that and given that flexibility for us. So we have.
They've already extended those dates pretty far out, Robin.
And they're also sending relief through federal funds as well, as part of the, was it CARES Act that was passed?
I believe so.
We just do not know what that will be at the moment, how much money we're expecting.
They've also opened up the specs on some of the, I think it was the Title I funds about what they can be used for. They gave some other allowances to during these special times that they would allow it to be used for versus what it normally is. I think that was Title I and not Title II, if I remember right. It was on one of the OSSBA emails.
Yeah.
Okay. Because obviously our collection in Series 3000 is way down.
That was my main question, but Rick and Jennifer answered it earlier. I was like, all right, we got about 1 million, right at 1 million collection remaining. But if we're billing over 550 of that now, that makes that chunk a lot smaller. And then it's going to be different than we budgeted, just for the reasons you mentioned, Rob. And the overall, what we originally budgeted is going to be down what we actually need.
We signed those claim forms last week, I think Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are we doing in-house as far as budgets go? Like, for example, library monies. Obviously, they weren't all spent this year. Let's say football had funds left over. Will all of that carry over into next year?
I think athletics has done a pretty good job of spending their money.
Let's talk about
and library. There may be a couple schools that haven't done it, but the deadline for the purchase orders was back in spring break. So we pretty much had all of our purchase orders in by that time.
And how are we doing getting all of those bills and everything paid with there being no school?
We're still getting all the bills paid, and we've got the secretaries still coming in and doing all of everything that they need to do, deposits, those kind of things. We do have something that's unusual this year, reimbursements for like prom and some things like that we're having to work through and make sure that we follow all the guidelines for that.
And then whatever's left, I'm assuming in activity funds and general funds that are earmarked, those will carry over?
Yes.
It should. Yes.
I'm not sure where to direct the question, if it's Rick or Jennifer, but some of our expenses look to be like the new thermometer and more Clorox stuff, which the time-wise coincides with of the COVID-19. On that CARES package that Rick was talking about, or are there any special funding type of programs that are specifically for items purchased for those specific categories?
I know that like we had some extra Chromebooks. We can do educational things. I don't know about the Clorox wipes and those kind of things. Those really don't fit into your Title I funding.
It's almost $6,000. I just wonder if there is any special coding or something that at even the federal level, or programs that come in to do with the sanitizing, that type of thing, which is over and above what would regularly have to do.
I did see an email with an allowance for that. I don't know that it was a reappropriation of, like, I didn't see that. I don't believe in reference to any of the title, any of those federal funds, but I believe there was a reference to either some additional federal grants coming down that would cover that. I know I did see an email within the last 2 weeks related to medical supplies, cleaning supplies, disinfecting supplies that should provide for some of that. I just don't remember the specifics on it. So it's something we just have to dig into and find.
So if that's being encumbered, when is that a reimbursement type thing for the district, or would you need to look at that now?
I don't know that we have it now. I think that's still, Rick, you can back me up, but I think we're still waiting on the flexibility and what they're going to allow or not allow. I don't think they've actually given us that information yet.
No, we haven't. At least everything I've seen has been from OSSBA, but nothing directly from the U.S. Department of Education or directly from the State Department.
Right.
I think it'll be a post thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine we're the only ones going through it. So that's why I wondered if there's something out there, because that's going to become a huge ongoing expense.
Yes, it is. Because, I mean, to think that there's going to be a set date and then this will all be over. I mean, all these questions are going to come back up in August when it's time to, hopefully we're back open and people are going to be sending their kids. And the question is going to be, well, how is my kid going to be safe in your school?
Right.
And so, yeah, that is going to be some expense. And so we are waiting to see what the funding is going to be, what the flexibility is going to be for each, because federal funds, I like to break everything out into categories, Title 1, 2, 3. So we just want to see what that is. And hopefully there'll be some of those operational type expenses in there.
Yeah.
Covered.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question about AT&T mobility. Would that be cell phones only?
Yes.
And how many school cell phones do we have?
I think it's mainly maintenance that has the cell phones.
And that's 2 people, 3 people, maybe 4?
I believe it's 4.
3.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked is because we encumbered $13,000 for our AT&T mobility, and I'm struggling with why we would have anything like that in a cell phone bill if we only have 4 phones.
Dan, do you know how many of your maintenance people have the cell phones?
3.
Said 3.
For $13,000.
All right. So
The school nurse also has one. I mean, that's the other person I know of. I don't know who else, but I know the nurse.
There's got to be more on that plan than just.
Yeah.
has to be.
I would like for
There's
you
also
to,
long distance on there, but
yeah, if you wouldn't mind to look into that and let us know. $13,000 seems like an awful lot of money. I didn't think we had that many school cell phones anymore.
no, it's just maintenance and probably the nurse, because I think there is only 4.
Well, if you would look into that.
Okay.
And then my other question is, there was a lawnmower bought for softball. When it's specific like that, does that mean softball paid for the lawnmower?
Yes.
So they have to do fundraisers to buy their own lawnmowers?
We split that, Robin. We split it in half.
With who?
With our budget out of maintenance.
Okay.
So softball has to raise half the funds and then you guys pay half the funds.
Correct.
And so it would be the same thing for soccer. Everybody has their own lawnmowers. Soccer has their own, football has their own.
That's correct. We split with soccer this past year also.
Okay. Interesting.
So they're the only ones that use it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Wouldn't you like to handle the shared lawnmowers, Dan?
What do you mean handle them?
Wouldn't you not love to referee who gets to use the lawnmowers on what days?
Yeah. The pool.
Oh, yeah. Hey, they're the only ones that get to use them. So
of course, if they have their own. I'm just thinking if we had a district pool of lawnmowers, that would be one more thing for you to do.
That would be too much there.
I have a question on the FFA trailer. Seems like we talked about this before and it's back again. It's 5180. Do we know when that term is over and when we're going to own it or what the balance is on this? Oh, Kelly.
We made the last payment this last month, I believe. The PTO actually is the one that was paying for it. But in order for it to be above board, we made them give us the money and put it in their activity account each year. And then that way we had a paper trail of how it was paid.
So it's
Okay,
actually the
great. So they
district
own
does
it. So that's done. And that was
Yes.
their own funds.
I will verify that it is paid for, but I believe we just got the title for it.
Good.
So we should be through. Also on the AT&T Mobile, I encumbered too much money. It should have just have been 3,000.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, that makes a little more
More
sense.
sense.
Little difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There we
But I mean, I will ask, like Laurie was saying a while ago, we did encumber $4,000 in Clorox wipes, and that's just one encumbrance. So I'm assuming we're stocking up for next year. Is that
So
what these
what that
are?
is the Clorox 360 program.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
it is a sanitizing program. It's not Clorox wipes.
Right. It's like that
So-
spray system, right?
Yes, it's the spray
Yes.
system that we're able to go around and sanitize classrooms and buildings throughout the district. So you have to buy your equipment, which is always that upfront cost when you buy the equipment, and then you buy supplies for it. The
Yeah,
supply,
I believe Bill Wallace with their daycare funds and stuff
Yeah.
bought the equipment last year.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's we have, Bill Wallace had that system at their site that they bought with out of their site funds. And because of what's going on and how often we feel we're going to have to use that system, I went ahead and said, let's get one for the district so we can utilize it everywhere. We're utilizing it in every facility that we have: transportation, administration, all sites, activity center, locker rooms. It's been tested and proven, from what we understand, to be effective against the COVID-19 virus.
So is that a piece of equipment that is checked out, and who is control of that? And then how, obviously it has to be refilled.
Mhm.
So walk me through like the process of how we're sharing it with the rest of the entire district.
Dan and his staff are pretty much going around and they're utilizing the system. And so he can explain how they're doing all that, but everything will be run through him and his operations group.
Okay. So I just was making sure that it's not like a library book where you come and check it out and take
No.
it, that like someone is
No.
supervising this.
$4,000, I really don't want a whole bunch of people trying to figure out how to turn it on and turn it off and
That's
utilize it. I prefer to have one group and go out, take care of business, and then bring it back. And the process itself only takes about 20 minutes or so per room, if I'm correct. Dan can correct me on that.
Well, actually, it took me about 30 minutes is all it takes for me to do the administration building. And that's hitting every room. And Lori, to kind of fill you in here, I'm the one that hauls the machine around. I do not want someone else hauling that machine around. I'll be responsible for the $4,000 machine. And so I take it site to site.
Okay. And then where is the thermometer living? It's a $1,800 thermometer.
Thermometer, I saw that too.
It's, yeah, where's that gonna live?
Pam, isn't that yours?
Yeah, okay, sorry, I couldn't get myself unmuted. So that's not one thermometer, that is 10 thermometers. And what it is a laser
Wait, how
one.
many? 10?
10, uh-huh.
Okay, sorry, that didn't come up on here.
Yeah, it has,
Yeah,
it
just a
has a
thermometer.
laser, yeah, it has a laser feature, so
Yes.
the thermometer never touches anybody's skin. And they're actually going to be less than that. They didn't have that model. And I think they contacted us back and said they're replacing it with a different one they do have that's less. So that will be a little bit cheaper, but it is for 10 to be utilized through the district at each site.
Thank you. Well, that's better.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've just gained all kinds of.
Yeah, you threw me for an $1,800 thermometer there.
Yeah, I didn't realize,
Yeah.
I didn't realize it when she kept saying thermometer. Okay.
One. So I thought, I want to know where that lives.
I
I don't want to be responsible for it.
I think that's all my little sticky notes that I had.
Are all those per diems, there's one, are those for trips that have already happened? I see the cheerleaders that has a date on it. but then the Acellus, that looks to be from a previous PO. And then there's one for Brandon Willis, but it doesn't have a date. So I was just wondering on the encumbrances. I'm assuming those are for trips that have already happened.
I
should
can
be.
answer that if you want me to.
Okay.
Yes, the per diems are from past trips. The cheerleaders have got their for the cheerleading trip.
Right.
Brandon's was for a trip that him and Michael Voiles took for a GT conference. And then the one that looks like from a previous PO, when it was encumbered, that was for Dr. A, and it just automatically picked his wife's name, and I did not catch that. So I had to void that payment and redo a new one for Dr. A when he went
Okay.
to his trip.
Okay. Got it.
Thank
And
you,
then do you think any of the refunds, do you think that's going to be a problem? I just see all this prom stuff and
Fees, a lot of stuff.
yeah, is that going to be a problem?
It shouldn't be a problem, but it is unusual and not something that you do, and something that we need to be careful that we have the names and a receipt, that duplicate receipt that shows we've given it to them. Anytime you're giving money out like that, you just kind of need to take extra precautions.
Like the stuff with the print, like the prom tickets and all that, will we be able to be refunded? Or is that has that already been
We'll
printed?
definitely refund all the students.
Okay. No more questions.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Second, Cliff.
So Alan second or who?
Christy Beater.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
All right, call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Gertis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right. Item 12, proposed executive session to discuss.
I move that we
Hold on.
convene an executive session. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Hold on. To discuss executive session authority, the board's discussing personnel, so it'd be hiring, transfers, reassignments, resignations, and retirements. And then under B, the hiring of an executive director of curriculum and personnel. The following individuals be attending via video conference. So Zach McGill, Robin Morse, Kara Gertis, Rick Croslin, Lori Allen, and Christy Clift. So we will do that on a separate call. Since this is a public meeting, we will do that on a separate video conference that is private. Okay. Now you're up, Christy. Motion to vote to.
All right. I move convene into executive session.
Robin seconds.
Okay. Call roll, please.
Gill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Gertis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
Now, before we go, do we turn this off?
So
leave this and then go the other.
you will need to leave this meeting.
Yep.
Board members, all of you will need to leave this meeting. You should have another email that will take you to the private meeting, the executive session. So,
Okay.
Jeremy,
But we actually push leave the meeting and we'll be able to come back.
Yes. Otherwise, if you didn't mute correctly, you'd be on the other meeting. Your audio would be possibly feeding both or feedbacks from both. So leave this one, and then when we get ready, we'll come back to this one.
So
We'll
will you
stay
same
on
link?
here.
Wait. Same link for the public meeting when we come back?
Yes.
Gotcha. Making sure. Okay, leaving now.
Bye.
Okay, I have participants coming back.
I see Rick.
Is that everyone?
No. No, still have Lori and
No,
Kara.
Lori's not
Christy.
in. Okay. Here's Lori.
I'm here.
Okay, there's Christy and Lori.
Somebody's dog.
Somebody's puppy's barking.
Someone's probably wanting to be fed.
Christy looks all comfortable in her recliner.
Yep. Might as well be comfy. You have to sit here this long.
I think I need to do mine for the recliner time.
Just go gray and you guys want to have a problem.
Just what?
What were you talking about? Color?
No, we were talking about being comfortable.
Sharing the screen Happy birthday to you, Kelly.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
It's been awesome. My kids put a video together.
I saw that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Friend me on Facebook and you'll be able to watch it. It was good.
This is 15 minutes worth of eyeshadow so that you couldn't see the gray.
Just go natural.
Not gonna happen. I'll just buy stock in eyeshadow.
Virtual meetings, you can't see all that stuff.
You don't know how wide my stripe was.
All right, Eric, Kara's here. I think we're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Everybody back in.
Okay, so we're good.
It fell, JD.
Eric, we're good. We're streaming again. Okay.
Noise on.
Yes, sir, you're ready.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right. Board entered into executive session at 7:05 p.m. to discuss the hiring, resignations, retirements, transfers, and adjustments of individual salaried public officers or employees listed on Exhibit A as authorized by 25 OS Section 307B1. Those present in executive session via video conference were Zach McGill, Robin Morse, Kara Gertis, Christy Clift, Lori Allen, and Superintendent Rick Crosland. No action was taken by the Board of Education executive session. The board returned to open session at 8:22 p.m. All right. Rick, if you will go ahead and give us the corrections for the hires under item 15, please.
Okay. Talking first about our certified extra duty hires in relation to Jack Hankins. He will be the head boys basketball coach for effective the 2021 school year. Pam Ladyman will be rehired as Director of Special Services. Dan Turner will be rehired as Director of Maintenance. Angie Morgan will be rehired as Assistant Principal at Lincoln Elementary. Julie Josie will be rehired as Assistant Principal at Grand Elementary. Kathy Winsel will be rehired as Assistant Principal of Bill Wallace Early Childhood Center. Let's see here. Steve Jones will be rehired as Technology Education Teacher.
At halftime or full-time?
Full-time. Heather Crowder at Grand will be rehired as Special Education Teacher. Then the summer field mowing maintenance crew is for the 2020 summer only. Then additionally, we have 4 names to add to the rehire list. Donna York, who is a psychometrist for the district, is a half-time position. Tammy Swinburne, psychometrist, which is a full-time position. Becky Kent, speech pathologist, full-time position. Janice Cochran, nurse, full-time position. And that should be all of the amendments that we spoke about in executive session.
Thank you, Rick. All right, entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the hiring of individuals on Exhibit A with the corrections that Rick added.
Second, Morse. I just said Macklemore.
Okay. All right, let's back up. Who, Christy did it the first?
Christy and then Robin. Yep. All right, any discussion? Call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right, item 16. Motion to vote to approve or not approve the resignations of individuals listed on Exhibit A posted with the agenda.
So moved. Clift.
I second Morse.
Okay, call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
and that was for resignations, correct?
Yes, item 16. Mhm.
Yes. That's for me.
Sorry, Cliff.
Yes.
Okay. Item 17, motion to vote to approve or not approve transfer, reassignment, workday adjustments for the individuals listed on Exhibit A posted with the agenda.
So moved. Clift.
Second, Allen.
Okay, any questions? Nope. Call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right. 18, motion and vote to approve, not approve the retirement of the individual listed with Exhibit A.
So moved. Clift.
Second, Allen.
Okay, call roll, please.
Gill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
Okay. Item 19, Mr. Rick.
I would like to recommend tonight Seth Meyer to be our new Executive Director of Curriculum and Personnel for the school district.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Entertain a motion.
Motion to
approve. Go ahead.
So Morris. Okay,
I second.
Cliff.
Clift.
All right,
Okay, call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morris,
yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Gertis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right, item 20, superintendent's report. Rick, anything you'd like to share with us?
It's just been very busy. I would like to say that a big thank you to all of our staff that's making the child nutrition meals possible each and every single week. Right now, we're currently averaging over 1,000 meals a day to our kids, and we could not do that without the work of our child nutrition staff, our bus drivers, our staff at the sites that's handing out meals. It's just been fantastic. I would encourage everyone to just check out our social media site. We've been adding some pictures over the great things that's been happening as people are out there just seeing kids when they can. And there's face masks, there's gloves, there's social distancing, but still, there's nothing better than seeing kids and being around them as best you can. Also, kudos go out to our principals and our teachers for the distance learning plans. They put together some stuff in a very short period of time. And so just amazing work by all of them. I do want to let everyone know that we are going to have a graduation. And so we are starting the process. When I say we, Ms. Snow and myself are starting the process of reaching out to our senior class officers and our senior class sponsor to get their ideas. We want to have their input as we plan graduation ceremonies for the class of 2020. They've earned it, they deserve it, and we're going to do something memorable and special for them. So we'll be getting in touch with everyone and letting them know how those things go as we move forward. We will be working on pre-enrollment procedures starting this week with our principals and how we can get that stuff rolled out for kids and parents. And we have not forgotten that everybody has stuff inside the buildings that they need, from band instruments to coats to lunch pails. Who only knows what's in those lunch pails, by the way. But anyway, we all know there's stuff in there that kids need to get their hands on. And so as we move forward towards the end of the year, and hopefully these safer at home orders will be lifted and we'll be able to come up with something. We're putting together a plan A and a plan B, and hopefully I don't have to go to plan C, but we'll get everything back to the kids and parents before the school year is over. So with that, this is a great school district doing great things for kids. And so I'm just very proud to be a part of it. And with that, I submit my report to you.
Thank you, Rick. Yes, we love having you here. We appreciate everything you and the team are doing. But this district has an awesome team. We've got an awesome community with awesome families and great kids, and we've got an awesome team that supports them. Everyone has done a great job. I can't thank everyone enough. All the other communities are going through the weirdness as well. I mean, we're all going through it together, but people are responding well, and I'm overjoyed that we're able to support basic needs during this time and take care of our kids. It's great. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second, Gertis.
Okay, call roll, please.
McGill,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Gertis,
Yes.
Clift.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Technology did not let us down. We did not let it down for the most part. So it all went pretty well. So thanks to Jeremy and Eric and all their help for getting it, and all the staff central office that had to do stuff to get it ready as well. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again.
So I'm assuming we leave our meeting now.